Cicada 3301, Marble Hornets, Been Drowned. All of these names are examples of ARGs, or alternate reality games. An ARG, to put it in layman's terms, is a type of game that involves you, the player, finding hidden clues and solving encrypted codes to progress the game. The thing about ARGs is that they don't outright specify that it is fictional. Rather, the creator usually makes an effort to make it appear as if the events of the game are taking place in real life. Let's say one of the codes the creator posted on Twitter, for instance, leads you to a phone number or a website. If you went to the page, or called the number, you would be greeted by either a normal-looking website with small clues in it, or you'll be greeted with a voicemail that could hold some secrets of its own. Things like this can help add lots of immersion that can make the player second-guess whether or not it's a game at all. So now that you have a good enough understanding of what an ARG is, let's talk about The Binding of Isaac. The Binding of Isaac, released on September 28, 2011, is a top-down dungeon crawler developed by Edmund McMillan and Florian Himsel. In this game, you play as either the main character, Isaac, or one of the 7 other unlockable characters, Maggie, Judas, Cain, Eve, Samson, and Blue Baby, as you fight through randomly generated rooms across 7 different floors. Although the game seems very simple, there is more than meets the eye. The intro sequence tells the story of Isaac and his mother who live alone in a small house on a hill. Isaac's mother hears a voice from above which she believes to be God, telling her that Isaac is corrupted with sin and that he needs to be saved by removing anything evil from him. She then reacts by tearing his drawings off of the walls, taking his toys, as well as removing his clothing. Right after, the voice once again speaks to her, telling her that he must be cut off from the evil of the world, so she locks him inside of his room. Then finally, the voice speaks to her once more, telling her that she must sacrifice Isaac to prove her devotion to what she believes is God. So she then takes a knife and breaks through Isaac's door, with the intro ending with Isaac jumping inside of an escape hatch that takes him into the basement. Now that we have thoroughly introduced Isaac, let us get into the game that is the center of today's deep dive, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is a recreation of the older title that was made on Flash. After partnering with the video game developer Nicholas, Edmund was able to revamp Isaac as we know it, implementing better graphics, 4 brand new characters, and much more content. Although it would be fun to discuss every secret about this game, we are instead going to talk about the 4 new characters, these being Azazel, Lazarus, Eden, and finally, one of the stars of today's show, the Lost. The Lost is by far one of the most, if not the most, difficult character to play in The Binding of Isaac. Starting out, you will notice that any amount of damage the Lost takes results in instant death, so unless you get the Holy Mantle, which tanks 1 hit point of damage for you, you will have to keep on your toes. When the Lost was introduced, the developers had decided that rather than making the unlock easy, they were going to implement a several-step unlock that the community would have to find on their own. The steps go as follows: die to a molly boom in the basement or cellar as Isaac, die to your own bombs in the caves or catacombs as Maggie, die to Mom as Judas, die to the second stage of Satan as Azazel. Unfortunately, the community's scavenger hunt to find these steps was short-lived, as data miners uncovered the steps in a matter of days. On October 30th, 2015, the newest expansion to The Binding of Isaac Rebirth was released going by the name Afterbirth. This expansion introduced new areas, tons of new items, and more bosses to name a few. But one of the features happened to be a game mode that goes by the name Greed. Greed is a game mode that puts you inside a rectangular room with 2 item rooms to your side, one requiring a key and one not. Straight ahead, you will also find a shop where you can spend coins to buy items, and a curse room that can include some useful items. Inside the main room, you will see a button on the floor. Once you step on this button, it will start a wave system, spawning a new wave when the timer hits 0. There are a total of 7 floors in Greed mode, each with its own unique layout. Once you reach the 7th floor, you will be greeted by the final boss, who goes by the name Ultra Greed. Ultra Greed comes in two forms, his normal one coming from the Afterbirth DLC, and the second form, Ultra Greedier, coming from the Afterbirth Plus DLC, which you can obtain after defeating him once, acting as a second phase. Once you defeat Ultra Greed, you will then be met with a donation machine. Although this one, unlike the normal machines found throughout the game, has the word Greed written on the top of it. Touching the machine will allow you to donate coins to unlock rewards. 1 coin will get you an item called the Lucky Penny, and 30 coins will get you the Wooden Nickel, to name a few. Donation machines work like this. You donate a quantity of money, and eventually after donating an unspecified amount, the machine will jam, preventing you from donating more. The maximum amount you can donate in a normal machine is 999, but for some reason, when you try to donate past the number 109 in the greed machine, it jams prematurely. What was presumed to be a bug was soon fixed, allowing the machine to reach its true maximum of 999. Reaching this number will give you the achievement Generosity. So let's take a look at this blog post, this being a post on the official Binding of Isaac website. At first, there isn't anything too out of the ordinary. It looks to be a normal update page. That is, until you separate the starting letters of each paragraph from the surrounding words. You are so close. A few days later, after the blog post release, the achievement mentioned prior was given a new icon, a piece of paper with dots and lines on it. Now if you count the pixels of each line, marking each space as a 0, you will get the numbers 108, 69, 82, 66, 101, 73, and 76. After putting these digits into an ASCII to text converter, gives you the letters LERBEIL. When putting these letters after the backslash on an imager link, you will be greeted with this picture. In this picture, you can see the Lost surrounded by human-like figures, a map at the bottom right corner, and a text at the bottom that reads, "And he removed that day the he-goats," a quote from Genesis chapter 30, verse 35. Unbeknownst to the individuals attempting to figure out what this image means, Edmund McMillan had made a tweet days prior. Of course, at first glance, there isn't much to this image, just a spider inside of a container. That is, until you look at the background, specifically at the poster just above the spider, the poster for the movie The Lost Boys. This had to be intentional. After learning that The Lost Boys was filmed in the same exact area Edmund McMillan lived in, Santa Cruz, California, and connecting scenes that took place at the Santa Cruz boardwalk, there was a chance this was where the next clue was hiding. An individual who goes by the name Nirvana Guy 007 had his brother go to the location, where he then found a missing poster, one of which is prevalent throughout the games. On this missing poster, you can see a phone number, conveniently having the 3 final numbers ripped off. Of course, these numbers just so happen to be 109, which shows that the machine breaking earlier was intentional. But when calling this number, you will hear this.
Hello. This is your... I know what you came for, but I need to hear you ask me.
Going further, PC Gamer had emailed Edmund McMillan asking him if he had any comments on the ARG, to which he responded, "Bring a shovel." On November 13th, the voicemail that played when calling the number had changed to this.
Christ calls. Generous gods don't guide history forever. Knowledge grows. His final form ends beyond greed. We need to go deeper.
Edmund later tweeted, "We almost revealed more evil, right?" Taking the first letters of these words spells out warmer, indicating we were on the right track. Since the same method had been used prior, an individual decided to take the first letter of each word in the voicemail, which resulted in this: CC, GGD, GHF, KG, HFF, EBG. Converting these letters into numbers will give you GPS coordinates that take you directly to a building in Santa Ana with the building number 109. Midnight rolls around, and 6 individuals took it upon themselves to get to the location and scout out the area, with of course a shovel. Shortly after arriving, a yellow poster was seen. Inspecting it further, you will see Bible verses, as well as a message at the top saying 10 out of 10 people die. It's true. We all have an appointment with death. A question each of us should ask is, what happens after we die? Flipping this around will show you imagery of an aging cycle with the question mark after the tombstone. Meanwhile, a tweet was sent out from Edmund stating, "I found some change right under my feet. Awesome." Shortly thereafter, the team managed to find a pile of coins lying on the ground that, once dug up, revealed some sort of figure with writing covering it, such as, "I'm Isaac's body, Isaac is dead, give me a voice." But most importantly, there were 4 characters written on the figure's forehead: ampersand, pound, 6, 4, which is ASCII for the @ symbol. These 2 pieces of information, when combined, resulted in people finding a Twitter account that went by the name I am Isaac's body, with the password being Isaac is dead. After giving Isaac a voice by tweeting, the password was swiftly changed and the character began tweeting out cryptic messages. An image was then tweeted. The community unlocked something hidden. Soon after, the Binding of Isaac was updated, introducing the character as well as revealing the name of the buried figure, the Keeper, which unlocks once the player donates 1,000 coins to the Greed donation machine. Thus concludes the Binding of Isaac ARG.